Hi, CRHS. We are at the collective hope that New Year is treating you well so far. Today's newsletter is going to be focusing on something very important: taking breaks. Breaks are especially helpful when you are trying to get a lot done at once. A break could be 5 minutes or even half an hour, depending on how long you plan on working. During a break, you could scroll through your favorite social media, drink a cup of your favorite drink, eat a snack, play with your pet, and so much more. Remember, taking a break and simply setting your work aside are two very different things. The most important thing for breaks is that during your break you actually let yourself relax. There are so many things you can do during your break. Show us how you take a break using hashtag #TakeABreakCRHS on Instagram. Quiet Study Time and Writing Center are back for the second trimester. We we have over 12 tutors ready to help you. Whether it's with schoolwork or just getting yourself organized, come join us at this link and we will be more than happy to guide you as best as we can. We are available Tuesday through Friday from 2:30 to 5. If after hours, please fill out this form to set up a time to come meet with one of your tutors during QST and Writing Center. We are excited to work with you this trimester and look forward to having you come meet with us. If you have any questions, please contact Andrew Smith at andrew.smith@ahschools.us. Student support services are here for you during distant learning. The school counselors, social worker, and college and career specialists continue delivering academic, personal, social, and college career services and programming to students and families remotely. Reach out, ask questions. We are happy to help, connect, listen, and plan together. Thank you for your partnership. Cardinal Food Shelf and Compassion Fund. Please consider supporting our community. Food and gift card donations are needed for the Cardinal Food Shelf. The food shelf is staffed by student workers who pre-package boxes and backpacks of food for students and families to take home as needed. The Cardinal Compassion Fund is used to help students and families that have difficulty participating in the CRHS community due to socioeconomic factors. Funds have been used for partial payments for expenses related to participating in school events and activities and material costs for classroom projects. The fund has also assisted families in crises. Checks can be written to AHEF with Cardinal Compassion Fund identified as the recipient on the memo line. Cardinal Career and College Corner. Scholarships and more scholarships. Oh my. Seniors, apply for scholarships. They have deadlines. What other job will you ever have that will pay you $500 to $16,000 for a few hours of work? This year's JA Inspire Virtual Career Expo will be taking place March 23rd to March 25th, 2021. This will be an amazing and engaging experience for area students. JA Inspire's Virtual Career Expo is an attractive online career fair for middle and high school students, made possible through a collaboration of educators, industry leaders, and junior achievement. Registration for schools and classroom is now open and is free event, but space is limited and is on a first-come, first-served basis. Here are just a few of the businesses that will be participating: 3M, Best Buy, Cambria, Delta Airlines, Great Clips, Minnesota Link, Minnesota Timberwolves, Minnesota Twins, Minnesota United, Minnesota Vikings, Minnesota Wild, Polaris, Taylor, U.S. Bank, and XL Energy Center. CRHS Junior ACT test is March 30th at Coon Rapids High School. Make sure you study for the ACT. More detailed information will be coming soon. That's all we have for you today, Cardinals. Hope you guys have a great rest of your week.
Hello, everybody. Just want to give you a little history. Well, let me introduce myself. My name is Robert Murray. I'm assistant principal. Wanted to give you a little history on Black History Month. Black History Month was created by Carter G. Woodson. He was a activist, journalist, educator, and he was born in the 1870s and in Canton, Virginia. Carter G. Woodson started with the idea of teaching people Black history, and he was one of the innovators of the Black History Week, which eventually turned into Black History Month. So please join us in celebrating the contributions of African Americans and people of color to America, and this month of February, Black History Month. Thank you.
Marcus Garvey wanted to return African Americans to Africa, to create a vibrant Black nation, empowered through economic independence. Although some of his goals were controversial, his crusade would inspire leaders from Malcolm X to Martin Luther King and Nelson Mandela.
Garvey was certainly a controversial figure, but the concepts that we now think of as Black nationalism and Black pride started with Garvey's pronouncements.
Marcus Mosiah Garvey was born in St. Ann's Bay, Jamaica, on August 17, 1887. Beginning as a printer's apprentice at 14, Garvey became a union organizer and later worked various jobs across Central America.
Marcus Garvey found wherever he went, Black people of African heritage in particular were always on the lower stratification end of society. This had a profound impact on him. Particularly, his concern was for the uplift of African people globally.
In 1912, Garvey sailed to London, England, and took night courses at Birkbeck College. After working for a Pan-African newspaper, Garvey returned to Jamaica in 1914 and formed the United Negro Improvement Association, or UNIA.
The UNIA was about Black self-determination. It was about galvanizing the ideas of Black repatriation to the motherland, the continent of Africa. And it was extremely important in terms of getting Black people to understand self-pride, pride in one's race.
Inspired by Booker T. Washington to raise funds and start his own school, Garvey came to the United States in 1916. And in 1918 began publishing the Negro World newspaper.
Garvey was extremely outspoken. He was, some people would say, almost bombastic. He wanted to take over Africa and had elected himself as president of Africa without consulting the Africans, unfortunately.
Determined to achieve economic independence for African Americans, Garvey launched the Negroes Factories Association in 1919 and a shipping company called the Black Star Line, which he planned to use to transport passengers back to Africa.
Garvey was a great organizer, but unfortunately not a great businessman. During the time that Garvey and the UNIA were trying to launch the Black Star Line, they solicited funds from investors for stock options through the mail. And this resulted later on in allegations of mail fraud, and Garvey was convicted and sent to prison.
After serving 5 years in prison, Garvey was deported. He eventually moved to London, and in 1938, he supported the Greater Liberia Act, created by known white supremacist, Senator Theodore Bilbo from Mississippi.
Marcus Garvey's association with Senator Bilbo is related more on a practical level rather than an intellectual like for each other. Marcus Garvey's attempt to help Africans in America leave and go to Africa fell in line with some aspects of KKK philosophy.
Garvey died in London on June 10, 1940. He was reinterred in Jamaica in 1964 and is hailed as Jamaica's first national hero and the prophet of the Rastafarian religion.
Although Garvey was a flawed leader, he's someone who is really important to the history of the Black radical tradition. He was probably one of the strongest voices of Black nationalism in history.
Happy Lunar New Year! People celebrate Lunar New Year in China and all over the world. The celebration lasts for 15 days in January or February. What are some things people do to get ready for the new year? First, people get haircuts and new clothes. That gives them a fresh start for the new year. Then, families clean the house. They make sure to sweep out all the old dust. Families have huge feasts. Everyone sits at a big round table and shares every dish. They use chopsticks to eat their food. At this feast, people eat lettuce for wealth, duck for happiness, long noodles for a long life, and cookies as a special treat. People visit friends and family. They give each other oranges for good luck. There are lots of red decorations for Lunar New Year. In China, red is the color of happiness. Here are some lion dancers. They dance and run and do martial arts. Now it's time to go to the parade. At the end of the parade, there is a big dragon puppet. It takes a lot of people to hold this dragon up. Sometimes, as many as 50 people are holding it. When the dragon comes by, lots of firecrackers go off. That means Lunar New Year is here at last.
Hello everyone and welcome to Rock and Roll Review. I'm Evan Barton, and today we're looking at the strange yet beautiful history of the Beatles. The main members of the mega group are John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr. Before the Pink Floyd review, I made a review of this specific band, but due to the shape of the video was cut for the first installment of the trimester of Red Zone segments. Because of this, I wanted to redo the episode because this is my personal favorite band of all time. Also, I know that the Beatles are a pop group, but due to the impact this band has had on the genre, and at times can have a similar rock and roll sound, I decided to feature this group on this segment. If you can't tell, I'm very excited to cover this band and their beautiful and extravagant sound, but how good is their sound? How are they still loved to this day? All will be answered shortly. It is 1957 and a young boy named John Lennon forms a band known as the Quarrymen. The band was very successful playing at a pub known as the Cavern Club. While playing, Lennon met a young Paul McCartney and soon started having talks about making a group together. With that, the duo then inducted guitarist George Harrison into the group, and Lennon's friends Stuart Sutcliffe and Pete Best joined the band. Soon after, Sutcliffe then left the band due to taking on artistic endeavors. Soon after, band manager Brian Epstein signed them onto Parlophone labels and started recording the hit singles Please Please Me and P.S. I Love You. While they were recording these singles, Pete Best was kicked out of the band due to producer George Martin not liking his drumming. He was then replaced with Ringo Starr, and the group then released the singles to critical acclaim. After the success of the hit singles, the band then went on to record Please Please Me, their debut studio album, which was released in 1963 and sold around 1.5 million copies. The album was a huge hit in the UK and spawned a huge wave of fans known as Beatlemania. After that, the band then released With the Beatles the same year, selling around 1 million copies, becoming another smash hit. Shortly after, the band then played The Ed Sullivan Show in the United States, spawning Beatlemania in the US and all over the world. With this newfound fame, they then released the albums A Hard Day's Night, an album with a corresponding film, with the album releasing in 1964 selling around 4.1 million copies. Beatles for Sale, released the same year as A Hard Day's Night, and sold around 1.2 million copies, and Help in 1965, with the corresponding film in 1965, selling around 3.2 million copies. At this point, none of the band's members could go outside without being recognized, which then caused stress and pressure on the band. With this, the band then released their next album, Rubber Soul, the same year as Help, and sold around 7 million copies, and shortly after, stopped touring. Rubber Soul was a change for the band, as the album showed changes in the group's sound and subject material. Following this experimentation, the band then released Revolver in 1966, selling around 6 million copies. After this, the band then created the very influential and experimental Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band in 1967, selling around 19 million copies. After having enormous success with their previous albums, the band then went on to record their next album until their band manager Brian Epstein died. Epstein was a large contributor to the success of the group, so when they lost him, they didn't know where to go. With this stress, the band then released Magical Mystery Tour in 1967, selling around 7.4 million copies, with a corresponding film that didn't do it as successful. After that, the band then released their next film, Yellow Submarine, based off the track off Revolver with the same name in 1960. As the band kept rising in popularity, the band were experiencing turmoil throughout recording sessions. Lennon's girlfriend, Yoko Ono, joined recording sessions, causing some arguments, and, with the artistic differences being set, the band were starting to fall apart. As this was happening, the band then released The Beatles, or also known as The White Album, in 1968, selling around 14 million copies. After that, even more turmoil arose throughout the recording of their next supposed album, Let It Be, but due to the constant fighting, they worked on Abbey Road instead and released that in 1969, selling around 16.7 million copies. After that, the group then finished Let It Be and released that in 1970, selling around 5 million copies. The band then disbanded that same year. Now that we have looked at the outstanding history of the band, these are songs and albums to check out. Songs include Please Please Me, I Wanna Hold Your Hand, and I Love Her, Help, Yesterday, Taxman, Eleanor Rigby, and A Day in the Life. With a little help from my friends in my life, I Am the Walrus, Strawberry Fields Forever, While My Guitar Gently Weeps, Helter Skelter, Here Comes the Sun, Something, Let It Be, and The Long and Winding Road. Albums to include are all of them. All of them are great and should be checked out. That's it. Next week we will be looking at pure rock and roll with Led Zeppelin. Until then, I'm Evan Barton.
My name's Kylie, and I'm going to give you 3 simple workouts you can do easily at home with little to no weights. The first workout is forwards and backwards lunges. I suggest doing 2 sets of 30. You can do this with weights or not, whatever's more comfortable for you. The second workout, I suggest doing sit-ups. You can do 3 sets of 15, or however much you're capable of doing. And the last workout is push-ups, and I know that we all hate push-ups, but I suggest trying to do 2 sets of 10. You can take as much time in between sets as you want, but these 3 workouts are super easy to do at home, little to no weights, and it'll get you feeling super good and ready to go. Bye, Cardinal.
Hi, my name is Molly Terabeza, and today I'm going to be doing a movie review on the movie Soul. Soul is a new movie that just got released on the Disney+. Soul is a very heartfelt movie and definitely will change your perspective on life after watching. I would definitely recommend watching the movie Soul, and I would give it a 9 out of 10.
Hello, Campus Cardinals. My name is Tyrell Hagan, and I'll be talking about this week's athlete appreciation. This week, I will be discussing the boys' basketball game against the Armstrong. The boys' basketball team took a tough loss to Armstrong last Friday, but one of the junior forwards, Elijah Smith, came out with 19 points, 8 rebounds, 2 steals, and 3 blocks. This is once a junior guard that's been playing at that level for about 2 years now and got some varsity minutes last year. A smart kid, a kid with a 3.4 plus GPA. Standing at 6'5", I feel like if the Coon Rapids Cardinals can keep up with his game and they play around it, I feel like they'll finish the season off pretty good.
Champlin Park with a lot of pressure in the first, so Hanlon able to make his save in close. He stopped 22 of 24 in the opening period. Cardinals were able to generate some chances in the first as well. Puck worked down low, but Koval is shut down on the short angle. Eventually, though, the pressure pays off as the Rebels get a bounce. Puck thrown on net by Nolan Peterson, goes off O'Hanlon, off a defender, and into the net, puts the Rebels on the board. They had a power play goal late in the period. Hogan Sinjam able to walk to the top of the slot and beat O'Hanlon with a wrister. Champlin Park added 4 goals in the first 4 minutes of the second and took complete control of the contest. Cardinals do get on the board with a 5-on-3 power play. Dominic Espinoza to Nathan Clark for the redirect. Clark's 6th of the season. The Rebels scored shorthanded just 9 seconds later, however, and then the Cardinals get another on the advantage. Nick Espinoza pokes in a rebound. Wide open cage, his first career varsity goal, and their power play got a lot of work. Champlin Park's Jack Bergstrom got a 5-minute major for this hit from behind on Jordan Blakowiak. They had another full 2 minutes, 5-on-3 to the Cardinals, but they weren't able to break through again. They created some traffic But in the end, the hole was way too big to dig out of.
Stormcats open the scoring shorthanded. Heather Sager pokes it away from Delaney Johnson. She's off to the races, beating Mayer with a wrist shot to the far side to give Anoka SLP the 1-0 lead. But Champlain Park Coon Rapids evens it up before the end of the first. Brooke Del Castillo with a steal at center ice, skates it in, scores short side of keeper Annika Olsen, fighting Bluebirds with better chances, 1-1 after one. CPCR gets the lead in the second. Erica Thiessen's shot blocked to the corner. Brooklyn Johnson recovers and finds Abby Peterson in the slot. Senior captain gets her first of the season, gives her team a 2-1 lead. Just 30 seconds later, Kylie Scott from the boards throws it in on net. It pinballs between Olsen's pad. All of a sudden, a little breathing room for the home team. They were shorthanded 9 times in the game, but still controlled the tempo. Molly Carabeza circling the zone. She snipes at top shelf, giving the Fighting Bluebirds a 3-goal lead, less than 5 minutes left in the third. And Delaney Johnson adds to it less than 90 seconds later. She splits the defense and scores on the breakaway, shorthanded. The PK was nearly perfect, giving up a power play goal into the final minutes on the Stormcats' 9th opportunity. Fighting Bluebirds, they skated away with a 5-2 win. Nice win for them. Hastings won the first 5 matches, built a 24-0 lead before Nick Lattery stops the bleeding at 138. Headlock takes his man straight to the back early in the second. Lattery's pin gets the Cardinals on the board, hoping to spark a comeback. Watch this move by Dalen Jones. He rolls himself into control position late in the third period at 145. He isn't able to get the pin, but gets a 13-9 decision to chip away at that big lead. That was a nice move there by Dalen. Unfortunately, wins in the next 2 matches increase the desperation in the upper weights. Good battle by Elijah Madimba at 170 will help him earn a 6-4 decision, but the Cardinals trail 33-12 with only 4 matches left. Alex Kowalczyk will keep the Cardinals' hopes alive with a pin at 182. Starts with a double leg takedown and then wins the upper body battle and forces his man to the mat late in the first, 33-18 at that point. But Hastings will hold on for a 45-24 win.
Their second match of the night was their one conference match of the week as the Cardinals took on Elk River. The Elks have been strong the past few years, challenging the perennial powers for positioning in the Northwest Suburban, but they were no match for the Cardinals this time around. Jaden Lilly making quick work of his man in this one. Midway through the first period at 106, Lilly takes his man straight to his back, hits chest to chest for the pin, and the Cardinals hold the lead throughout. Still close as we get to 138. Nick Lattery will get the team some bonus points. Lattery's pin starts a streak for the Cardinals. Up next, Enoch Medima at 145. He gets his man in the cradle and rolls him over, and then just rocks him to sleep. His pin pushes the Cardinals' lead to 24-9. Back-to-back is great. 3 straight is even better. Ahmed Yafa on the mat at 160, and he turns his man quickly, getting the Cardinals a first-period pin, and they wouldn't lose another match the rest of the night. See him squeezing the headlock. Top-ranked heavyweight Gavin Layton finishes the match with another pin. He remains undefeated early in the year, and it completes a dominant 63-9 win.
It was a slow start for both teams offensively. Off a miss from Ntambwe, Ella George able to poke the ball to Rowan Tom. She takes it in to score. 1-point game at that point. Cardinals trailing most of the way in this one, but strong defense keeps Blaine from running away. Reagan Van Slooten's running for the rim. Jenny Ntambwe is there, swats it away out of bounds. Ntambwe was big for the Cardinals at both ends. Late in the half, Lexi and Imdyke driving, but Ntambwe there again to shut it down. Still, Blaine leads 28-17 at the break. Cardinals have been stronger in the second half all season, and that trend continues against the Bengals. Ntambwe with a strong move to the lane. She led all scorers with 21 points in the game. Cardinals make it interesting by cutting the lead late in the game. Tom finds Ella Georgie in the corner with an open look. Her 3-pointer cut the deficit to 7 with 1:35 remaining. But the comeback is going to fall short. Another 3-pointer, this one by Kate Severson in the final seconds. But Blaine holds on for the 50-43 win, dropping the Cardinals to 1-3 on the season.
Still, it's the same thing they've had in all 3 of their losses. Really slow start in the first half, play much better in the second half.
Tough to dig out.
But we've talked about it for years, in many different clubs. You can't have a slow start. You can't, as we talked about with the boys hockey team, you can't take 5 minutes off in a game.
No,
It just
you can't. You can't.
The teams are too good up here in the Northwest Suburban. Well, the Lady Cardinals have felt the sting of COVID protocols more than most. They're one of the two teams, as we've talked about, that had a 2-week pause due to positive COVID tests. They're back now, and they're trying to make up for lost time. The interruption was frustrating, but they're making the best of the situation and just trying to move forward.
It was great to be back, but it was like starting over.
The Cardinals had just got rolling when they had to hit pause. They had a solid second half in the opener against Park Center, and they were ready for Game 2 when the news came.
It was a little disappointing. We had prepared for an entire week for a big game, and then like 2 hours before we were supposed to leave, they were like, "You're not playing for a week and a half."
A player on the JV team came in contact with the virus at home, and when she came back positive, that meant everything had to shut down.
It was a shocker. It was kind of upsetting because I didn't know exactly if we were ever going to be able to come back because we kept getting positive tests over and over again. But like I said before, we were just trying to keep putting the work outside, doing virtual workouts, just trying to get prepared for if we ever could come back.
In all, 4 players tested positive for COVID. They believe it was contracted at home and not at basketball, but it meant the entire JV and varsity teams had to quarantine.
We couldn't be together, so we had to do virtual meetings, and we did that, and they did. They have a Google Classroom set up, so they do workouts, but it's just not the same, and I think they definitely miss being with each other.
There's only so much you can do to stay in basketball shape during a Minnesota winter. The captains encouraged players to work out as much as possible and get shots anywhere and any way they could. But now they're playing catch-up with the rest of the teams in the league.
But we're definitely really happy to be back. Have to work twice as hard now because everyone else has been playing for the 9 days that we were resting. So we definitely have a lot to prove this year. So yeah, we're just happy to be back.
The Cardinals are encouraged by what they see in practice, and getting the first win of the season definitely helps. But they're determined to improve their gameplay because they believe they're better than what they've shown so far.
I feel like it's all in our heads right now, and we just need to get comfortable, get loose when we're playing in the game, because in practice it's a totally different thing.
The Cardinals are being extra diligent to keep everyone healthy the rest of the way. They're hopeful there will be no more interruptions to the schedule, and they're going to enjoy every day because they know tomorrow is not a guarantee.
Just being able to be with them is going to be a lot of fun the rest of the year. Hopefully we make it through. I hope no other teams have to shut down because it's not fun.
I don't know, it's bittersweet this year because we have to take every day like it could be our last, because it really could. So I'm just trying to, stay positive and savor every moment.
Tight game early with both teams filling the basket. Cardinals in transition to get to Peyton Himley in the corner, and he's going to hit the 3. Well, they needed everybody scoring to keep pace with the Falcons. Ellingson with a nice look from the same corner. This one won't go, but good pressure inside, and MJ Alma gets the putback. He finished with 11 for the Cardinals. But it's not all about the offense. Defense is the key for these Cards. Jordan Doe jumps the passing lane here, and the Cards are off the races. Elijah Smith finishing at the other end. More points in transition, quickly up court and fired from long range by Griffin Tom. Great follow by Ellingson, able to take it strong to the paint for the points, and it's a 1-point game at the half. Cardinals trailing but keeping it close throughout. Elijah Smith able to get this floater to go off the glass. He led all scorers with 25 on Friday night. We move to late in the second, 10-point deficit. Smith kicks it out to Ellingson for a big 3, but the Falcons always seem to have an answer. Nice shot there. Just 75 seconds left. Another big 3 for this one from Jordan Doe. It's all close it would get. Armstrong able to top the Cardinals for the second time this year. 72-64 would be the final. Every year a grind in the Northwest Suburban, and this year is even more so without any non-conference games. But for kids during COVID, any chance to get on the court is like a gift.
Play every game like it's your last one, because you never know what could happen.
If the pause didn't make coming to the gym seem precious enough, the boys basketball team had an extra reminder the past 2 weeks. They've seen 2 programs close to them having to suspend already shortened seasons. and that's reinforcing the importance of taking precautions.
We got to be smart. We got to be wearing our mask. We got to be keeping distance because it doesn't take much. I mean, we've seen it. We've had some weird, quiet days in the gym where our practice is done and no one's coming in. Or in the hallway, there's no wrestling team coming right now.
The Cardinals feel fortunate they're able to play at all, since some nearby states canceled all high school activities. So while the masks can be a challenge, they say it's worth it.
It gets annoying sometimes, especially when it gets sweaty, but, you know, I gotta do what I gotta do to keep playing, you know?
The Cardinals tried to stay positive during the pause. They encouraged each other to stay ready for a season they were hopeful for, but not confident would happen.
It was just a lot of working on your own, going to the gym, or trying to find places to get shots up, and just staying focused and staying in shape.
Coach O'Gork said the guys returned to the gym in good shape, with most everyone passing their fitness tests on the first day. Still, it's almost impossible to be fully prepared when you have less than 2 weeks from first practice to opening night.
I liken it to, there's no warm-up, right? You get on the treadmill, you put the thing at 10 miles an hour, and you go. Like, there's no build-up to it, and that was the start of our season.
The Cardinals are a young team playing in a tough league. They have a handful of veterans that provide solid leadership, and they're already starting to grow and gel as a team.
As this season continues, we're doing better at like moving the ball, finding good looks, stuff like that. Getting better at shooting the three also.
The Cardinals hope to see their hard work lead to more wins, but whatever happens, they just want to be able to see it through until the end.
Just enjoying the ride, you know. It's my senior year, last year to play basketball.
I look forward to just our seniors having the best senior year that they can in one of the craziest years that we'll ever remember.
Go.